Good morning, Sharon. Thank you. It's supposed to be the last screen, not the first one. So Sharon, you got a sneak preview of the end of the show. Good morning, summer day. Trying to decide if I should add a video from my trip to McCall. Happy fall, B. I think it's going to have to wait for another show. Had to scramble this morning. I was not as efficient as I sometimes am. So by the time I got everything done, in fact, my hair's a little wet still. Always back to the hair. Did you all have a good weekend? Have any fun? I snuck up to McCall. We're going to talk about that. Good morning, Zig. How are you? Hope everything's going better in your world. You're beginning to get back to a little bit of normal. Okay, I'm taking credit for this one. Look at that. Thank you, Mr. Tall Ant. My friend Stuart Talent is with us. That's a true treat. How's everything going? Hope things are great at Jim's Furniture. Thank you, my friend. Well, you just never know who's going to show up on this crazy thing in the morning. All right, minute to go, my friends. Going to be a Zig. That's not really a compliment. We're going to talk about fun today. I think this next week might be stressful for some of us. We're going to talk a little bit about coping with fun. And I left out the sarcastic part. Some of you who have known me a long time, in fact, everybody on this list for the most part, except for maybe Sharon, has known me a long time. I have a tendency to be a bit of a smartass. I try really, really hard to tamp it down. So I'm going to be quiet for a little minute so we can get this thing started. Good thing, Zig. Be good to have you out here. Get you back out where you belong. It's back out west. You and I can have some adventures. Yeah, a bit. Hello, Facebook and all the world. David Arday here. Let's go. Today we're going to talk about how important it is to lighten up a little and have some fun. I'm going to show you a rainbow, an eagle, and what else do I got here? And some aspens from McCall. So let's get started. Well, how'd y'all do? Did you have a good time this weekend? We've talked a little bit about it. I hope the weather in Idaho has turned. We have definitely started towards fall. It looks like we're going to have a pretty serious winter. Like I said, I snuck to McCall. I'm back on the book. In fact, probably in a show or two, I'll start showing you all some previews of it. I hope that will be interesting to you. I've decided to make some changes to it, and we'll talk about that later on. I'm working back on some files. That's part of the book, and I'm also working on an article on, as you know from watching this, I've traveled quite a bit, so I'm writing an article for Facebook and my website about how to travel better in these times a little more safely. I call it Riding with Corona, so we'll get to that. So my son thought he needed his laptop, so I was going to run to McCall, and I took Highway 55. Now, Highway 55 is truly one of the most beautiful roads in the country. It spoiled me. I think they should all look like that. I think you should always be able to have a river on one side and then go up into this big, beautiful valley and have the mountains of Tamarack on one side. Not all the roads, especially the roads like the Mountain Home, are that beautiful, but it was a great day, and got up early. I headed out, and I rounded the corner outside of Horseshoe Bend. I left, 8 o'clock or so, and you all know my obsession with eagles. I have chased eagles literally all over the West, from Alaska to Great Glacier National Park. I tried to find them one time. They were supposed to be on the shores of the Oregon coast. Not done very good. But I did years ago find one on the corner of Horseshoe Bend, just as it turns back into Highway 55. And every time I go by there, I take a look. Guess what happened on Saturday? There he is. Look at that big, beautiful beast. Now, I'll admit, these are not great photographs. They're not going to be on anybody's wall, but I was able to catch him after he left his perch, and he flew away. For the camera guys out there, I didn't have the right shutter speed. I was not fast enough. It was dark. It was really cloudy and overcast, so I was kind of pumping the light in. I had a long lens, which means it doesn't let as much light in. Don't want to go deeply into the technical part, but the bottom line is, one of the great things about being a photographer, it's not always getting the absolute best and perfect photograph. Oftentimes, it's just about being there. I sat across the river. I was probably 50 yards from this magnificent bird, and he was paying attention to me. He was wondering whether or not I was a threat. Of course, I wasn't, but he was watching me pretty close. He wanted to know what I was up to, and you know, I'd like to think that we communicated. I certainly am in awe of bald eagles. I think they're a magnificent bird. Unfortunately, I've learned a little bit about them. They're really kind of vultures, but they're just gorgeous when they fly. There's something about that white tail and that beautiful white head and that pretty, pretty, pretty beak of yellow that just makes them stunningly beautiful. And I just absolutely love them. So that brings me to my first topic of the day, and that's we need to all have a little more fun. We need to lighten up. For a lot of us, this next week is going to be very stressful. There's going to be a lot of accusations fly around. There's going to be a lot of craziness. The media is going to bombard us on both sides with a lot of negatives. It's going to be difficult to talk to our friends who we disagree with. I suspect that even business meetings are going to be really, really intense this weekend. So what do? Well, the simple answer is you have some fun. Now, how do you do that? Life's just easier if you put a smile on your face. Wake up, be bright. Those of you who have watched the 80 or so of these, I have a range of emotions. We all do. I have made a conscious effort that for the 15 or so minutes that I am with you all, that I am going to be as bright and shiny and fun and as lovable, as hard as that may seem to be, as I possibly can. And I'll tell you, the shows have gotten much easier for me. For some reason, when I'm happy, I don't have the tech crashes. Who knows? Who knows about that? That's amazing to me. As soon as my attitude and change, things got easier. Life's just easier if you're having fun. So what do you need to do? Let me talk about my Uncle Ernie. Now, some of you know that my Uncle Ernie was a famous photographer. His work is in the National Record. He has been described as the photographer who saved the white clouds. He was very influential in acquiring the Sawtooth National Recreation, which later became the area around Stanley Basin. Now, Ernie was a great man, big, bold, wonderful, but towards the end he started to fade a little, but he still found a way into the day realty. And one of my favorite things about Ernie is he always had a joke. He always had a quick aside, a witticism. He was just amazing at finding a way to break the most tension, the most strong tensions. And I think one of my favorite things that Ernie said is, when I was a young buck real estate, struggling real estate agent, he would come to my desk and he would tell me a joke. And as things got, as he started to fade a little, he would often tell this joke, the same joke, a funny joke, mind you, the same joke, continually through the day. Finally, I was trying to get some work done, and he came up and he said, "David, I want to tell you a joke." He told it to me, and I said, "Ern, man, you just told me that joke 20 minutes ago." He smiled, roared back, and laughed that big laugh of his, and he said, "Yep, wasn't it funny?" So lighten up this week. Take it easier. Maybe what you need to do is you be the one to tell the joke. It's better to laugh at yourself. Self-deprecating humor is good. Be careful. Be careful about how you phrase it, because you don't want that to become your reality. It's really easy to get tied up in knots. So if you just loosen up, I tell you what, when you laugh, the world laughs with you, as they say. It's cliche, but it's so true. So, sounds fun. Loosen your bone, Wilma. Step back, make life a little easier. Call that buddy, call that friend that you haven't talked to in a while, and tell him a bad joke. You'll both laugh. Maybe it's a groaner, but, tell him a really bad one. Maybe a dirty one if you know him well enough. Just have some fun. So maybe, I almost didn't put this in, but I love whoopee cushions. There is something about the little box that makes the fart sound that you can push a button. So maybe your next meeting, take one of those or drink it down to coffee. Or at the family gathering that you're going to have, yeah, put it next to the one who votes an opposite way of you and push the button and see if they get the joke. So maybe you dig out a funny book or find a story. Go to YouTube and watch a crazy cat video. I'm thinking about maybe breaking out, going in and looking at some old comedies from the 60s and 70s. I'm kind of thinking, for some reason, the A-Team is speaking to me. I'm thinking maybe that bunch of crazies could help lighten the mood. Find something fun. Just look for something. And the other thing is, if we open up our eyes, we can find amazing things. I'm kind of known for finding funny signs, and people ask, where do you see them? I see them everywhere. You want to laugh? Drive down Vista and look at the washerwoman. That lady, as hard as she works, makes me smile every single day. I probably should put a picture of her there. As B says, humor is very, very healing. It's one of the best things you can do, is to find yourself a little joke now and then. Look for the funny. It's everywhere. Your friends are funny. They might not let you know they're funny, but if you kind of move along, they can be funny. Find that humorous situation. Find the humor. There's humor in everything. And we're really, really really going to need it, I think, for the next little while. So it's easy to go harsh. It's easy to be the smart ass, the one with a sarcastic wit. It's much harder to be the guy that lightens up the room, the person that lightens up the room. So, give yourself a chance for an extra chuckle this week. You might very well need it. And believe me, the people around you will definitely be appreciative of that little helpfulness. Let's go back and see some pretty pictures. We've talked about fun. Now let's talk about rainbows. What do you think of those two? So there's a little tiny turnout. I suspect one of the reasons why I took this photograph, I suspect they'll take it out. If you see photographs or paintings or illustrations of the Rainbow Bridge, for those of you who don't know, this is on Highway 55. It's below Banks. It's above Banks. It's above Banks. It's just before you come up into Long Valley, and it's just gorgeous. I had snow at the lower part of the road, and as I came up into the upper part of the valley, the sky opened up. I decided I would pull over because who knows when you're going to have a chance. Fall colors have faded a little, but you've got a little bit of them down there. You can see that in this. So which of these do you like better? We've often talked a little bit about the nitty-gritty of photography. Ansel Adams said, being a good photographer is knowing where to stand. You don't have a lot of options here. I did go down closer to the river. It gets harder and harder to get back up that hill every time I go, but I did go down. Do you have a preference on the right or the left? They're very similar, but as you can tell, one has quite a bit more of the river. It also has the tree to the right. I find the tree a bit distracting, but I do like the extra part of the river and just a little bit more of the trees to the left. B says she likes number 1, the closer version. Anybody else out there got an opinion? Somebody asked me why I do this, why I post the comparisons. I posted a black and white and a color. And the simple answer is I do not trust my personal vision or my personal, I don't know what to call it, my decision making, I guess. Sharon also likes the one to the left. Interesting. And the reason I ask these questions, I put up a black and white or a color that are very similar, is I want to know, I want a broader expansion of what beyond my personal perception. I want somebody to look at it and say, oh, I like this black and white because it has this and this, or I like this one in color because it has a better gradient. As you know, I'm a commercial photographer, I'm a fine artist, and my job is to present. The simple part of my job is to take photographs. Frankly, it's pretty easy. You just go up, the equipment is really easy. My phone, absolutely one of the best cameras ever. It's simple. I see my battery's about to give up, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up. I want to tell you folks, thank you so very much for being here with me. I appreciate your opinions. I appreciate your honesty. So this week, if you have a chance, have a laugh. David Arday, you can find me at davidarday.com. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is David Arday Creative. If you like what you saw today, please share it along. Give me a like. Give me a little bump. I'm having some trouble building my audience. It was better earlier. I think people have gone back to work, so they're not as available. Tuesday mornings in particular have been a little weak. So if you like what I do, give somebody a little nudge and tell them. If there's something you'd like me to cover, please tell me. If there's a picture or you've seen something of mine you would like me to discuss, I certainly do that. Is there a topic? Is there something you want to see, something interesting that I can share with you? I would love to do this. This is David Arday. This is that part of the show where I tell you to go out, have some fun. I'm out.